Oh! They call me Pounds, here I'm known as 978 Customs create, plus I rhyme. YouTube, welcome back to another Pounds 978 Customs video. And today we're going to just break this figure down and take out all the limbs and pins out of the knees and elbows. Some of you are asking why Boomerang. There is no reason. He's just some extra fodder I had lying around. You see I took his arms and legs for another custom, and so we had him lying around. He doesn't have any hands. We don't need hands. You know the hands pop off easily. Same thing with the head. So Avengers, disassemble! What one really needs is a pick of some sort and a hair dryer. I like to use it on high. That way it just gets to it quicker, but be careful. You could use medium level, but this pick works well. If you could find something flatter but pointy, that would work. Just something small enough to get inside those pegs. First thing you'll want to do is remove what you can without the hair dryer. So that's the head and the hands. Hands are gone, fortunately for us, so just the head has to be removed. And you see these biceps, so what we're going to work on. We're going to start from upper level to lower level. So we'll do the arms, thighs, calves, feet. Right? So the goal is to take these arms off. What you want to do is take your hair dryer, set it on high. Be careful though. If you're not used to this, put it on medium. That way you can play with it a little longer. But I keep it on high just to get it done fast. Warning though, if you keep it on high and you leave it on one spot, you will melt the figure or will make it really soft. So you see I'm rotating this figure as much as I can, kind of like a chicken rotating in an oven, because you want to get the entire area warmed up enough where you can just slip off the arm from the peg. And so the idea is just to get it evenly warmed up. You see how the elbows kind of bend and flimsy. It looks like it's ready to go. And instead of pulling, what you want to do is like bend. You want to kind of like bend up instead of pulling out. Bend up and then pull. When you get to that round part of the peg, you can pull right there, but don't pull because you could break the peg. So bend up. And this is the process you're going to do for most of the limbs. You do the same exact thing for the arm here. You just heat it up and rotate your figure around, and make sure you don't keep the heat focused on one point. You want to heat the entire arm and circle that figure around just to keep it warm. I'd probably say about 8 to 10 seconds, give or take how hot your hair dryer is or your settings. I'm kind of used to this, so I'm just winging it. But it looks like it's ready to go, and you do the same thing. You bend. See that? Then you pull out when you get there, because that part can break. It's really soft right now. Right? Successful. Now we need to do these legs. Turn the heater on. One thing I also want to point out is when you're heating up your figure, try to keep your fingers away from the heat, from where the temperature's coming from, because you will kind of burn your fingertips if you are holding the figure where the heat is being pointed at. So just keep your fingers away from the hot air going onto the figure. See, it's getting a little hot, so I dropped it. But that's just, keep that in mind. You don't want to burn yourself. But you do the same exact thing. You rotate your figure around. You heat up the entire thigh area. This you may want to heat up a little more because it's thicker than the arm, and the peg is also thicker, so it's going to take a little while to come out. See, it's a little tight still, so I'm going to heat it up just a little bit more because I don't want to break anything. And don't worry about this. You shouldn't affect your figure too much. Just remember to rotate the area of what you're heating up. It looks like it's good to go now, so remember the goal is to bend. This you might have to pull out a little bit and still bend. The goal is to bend here. See if I can get it on camera because it is harder. Luckily for me, all the pressure and heat I put on the leg, the calf can just pop right off as well with the boot. Normally you probably have to heat that up a little bit too, but since the leg was already warm, I was able to take that off. Now to take off this ankle. Actually, we'll do that afterwards. Let's keep it from top to bottom, so let's get this thigh out the way really quick. Same process. The thighs are going to be probably the hardest part to take off because they're so thick and the peg is so thick that it's really locked in there. So the idea is to warm up that thigh area. Now that you know what the peg looks like on the other side, you kind of know where to hit with your heat gun to keep that area warm in order to just slip that leg out. Jump cut 8 seconds just to save some time. But the process is the same. Remember, keep all areas warm on that thigh. Don't focus on one point. Try to hit every curve on the thigh. And then when it's done, you should be able to just pull a little bit and then bend. Oh, that was a little tough, but I want to show you guys. You put it back in really quick. It's all the way in, right? The leg is back in. You pull, and you do the same thing with the leg. You bend the leg out. See that? Don't do it too much because you can break that. At that point, you want to pull out. See? That peg is it's thick. So maybe you just turn it around and just pull it out. Don't break your pegs. I was just trying to show you. I don't want to over-exaggerate by bending that peg too much. But you guys get the idea. Now, some of you guys have been asking me, how do you crack torsos to remove the upper torso from the lower torso? And honestly, I don't. I've never tried to crack my torso. I don't see a need for it. I mean, obviously, there are people who do it and can create amazing stuff. So shout out to y'all who do this on a regular. But I just don't really find the need for it. I swap just minimal parts: legs, arms, thighs, hands, feet, head. Keep torsos and thighs, upper thighs, intact. Because then you have to start cracking and then sculpting over the holes. It's tough. So far, these are the limbs we have taken off of this torso. But let's grab these legs, or these calves actually, and take off the ankles. Turn on the heat gun and give this a spin. This is tough because my fingers are really close and it's going to get hot. So the best way is probably get a paintbrush or something small and stick it in the peg hole in that that calf. The ankles are the easiest parts. You see it already comes out. You do the same thing. You bend and pull. One thing I also want to mention about these parts, if you get confused once you take them all apart, is that they do have indicators on them to let you know whether if they're the right or the left. Let me show you what I mean. The right ankle and right parts will all have the letter R on it. You see that R inside the foot. And in this thigh area, let me look for it really quick before I put it on the camera. You see here as well, it says BR2. The R indicates this is the right calf to go with this right ankle. And that's pretty much easy. You keep those together so you don't confuse yourself. You don't want to pop in the wrong side. But let's take this leg off. Putting heat on top of the foot area where it's connected to the peg and the back side of it as well, just to slip it off a lot easier. Just rotate it around. It could be a little hot, so be careful with this. Don't keep your fingers too close to the heat. But once hot enough, it should be easy to just pop right off. Bang. Quick reminder, again, the inside of these feet have indicators. This is a left foot. So when you have both of these calves, you can tell the difference. This one is a left as well. Putting them both together, though, you will see that one says BR2 and the other one says BL2. Right foot, left foot. Decided to put this thigh on a pen tip just to keep my fingers safe because I was getting a little heat on my fingertips from the calves. So this is probably the best way to do it. Just stick something in that's the similar width as that. But to take these pins off, you'll see that one side is smaller than the other usually when it comes to pins. It's hard to tell on these thighs here and knees. They look kind of the same. This clip is sped up ×4 just to try to save some time. Heating up the knee area around the pins so they can warm up and loosen up around there and I'll be able to pop it right out. If you're using a sharp pick like I am, Be very careful that your finger is not over that hole where you're going to be poking out from. See how my fingers are on the side of it? So just press in. Again, if you have something flat, it would be a lot better. But you just press in and you'll see that pin come out. And once it does, you could push it out all the way. You could just grab it with your fingertips. It's getting a little cool now, so it's giving me a hard time. So what I'll do is probably just take off the leg and then take the pin out. It's a little tight in there right now. I'm just going to use my teeth. It's a lot easier. There it is. The upper thigh, the knee joint is still attached, and then the pin from the lower calf area, or the upper calf, I don't know, is removed. You can do the same with the other pin as well if you want to take those knees out completely and exchange them for another pair of knees. It's all up to you. Here we have a bunch of parts that came directly from this torso. This leg we haven't touched yet. This foot that we took off the calf. We got these hands. We got this that we just took apart. And that one pin. We didn't take out the other pin. And so let's just get to the arms, right? If you grab these arms and examine them, you can tell that the outside of the arm, the pin is smaller. And the inside of the arm, the pin is bigger. The outside smaller, the inside is bigger. That means that you want to take it out from the outside, pushing inside, right? So you go from the outside with the pick and you push on the outside of the arm and watch the pin pop from the inside because it's bigger. So that's just the way to do it. Let's heat this up. Sped this clip up also just to get it done. Remember, rotate your piece around the heat. Get all areas hot. Then you grab your pick. Remember, from the outside of the arm, you push in this pin. Try to get center. Try to stay center. Again, hopefully you have something flatter than I do because I tend to poke holes in my pins. But I didn't this time. Look at that. Just slipped right out. You can pop this arm off. And that little piece hanging up is the stopper. So you can sand around that once these are off. Or you can sand them when they're on. It doesn't really matter. It's your choice. Some people like to take these off completely and sand them. See, it says L right there as well, BL2. Lets you know that this is the left elbow joint in case you forget. All these pieces have indicators that let you know where they belong or what part they belong to. And here it has it as well. It's kind of hard to get the focus in there, but trust me, it is in there. If you got good enough eyes, you can see. But that's how you take this apart. You can take the other peg out the same exact way, and then you have a loose elbow joint. If you want to swap those out, you can, but I'm just going to put it right back in. It's the same thing. Just poke it in from the inside to the outside, and you squeeze as hard as you can. You may have to use that pick again just to give it an extra push. Make sure it goes through, and it should be functional right after that. Let it cool down, and then continue on with whatever you're doing. That is the quickest way to remove these parts, and it's not much more complicated than that. I mean, you could take it further and remove the rest of the pins and sand around here if you want to start sanding now. It's probably a good time. Some people sand with legs and knees attached like that, or you can just do it this way. However you prefer, and it also depends on what custom you're making and what parts you want to use and swap out for colors, or it all depends. This is just showing you how to take it off. But we're going to put it all right back together because I didn't have any use to take it apart yet. So I figured I might as well show you how to put it back. It's all the same. It's just in reverse, right? Except when it comes to heating up. You always heat up first. Make some room. Turn on your hair dryer and heat up that hole a little bit. It should be a lot easier though to put it back together than it was taking it apart. The not knowing how to is the worrisome part, but once you know how, you should know how to put it back. You take the pin from the inside of the leg and you pop right in. This peg right here seems to be a little messed up on one end because I stabbed it with the sharp end of the pick. That's why I said if you have something flat, it would be best to use something with a flat tip, but it was still narrow enough to fit in that peg hole. Once you get that peg inside the hole, the leg becomes functional again. And whether or not, if you sanded the joint or not, depends on how you're going to paint. Some people just swap knee joints for the color they need. That way they don't have to paint it. Well, you can grab your leg again and warm it up so you can attach it to the upper thigh that's on the torso. Just heat up again, rotate it a little bit. This should take less time than it did to remove the leg. But you do want to heat it up efficiently enough where you can just pop it right in and you're not forcing it into that peg. Remember, it has an indicator whether if it's right or left. This was a right leg, so we put it back where it belonged. You can see it lines up with all the muscle marks. And then same thing with the lower leg, the calf area. You warm it back up right at that hole. And again, watch your fingertips. Ooh, kind of hot, baby. But yes, it is hot. And it should slip right in. Can I say, with respect, I really don't like making these kind of videos. It's not that I don't want to tell you guys. I want you guys all to know. Because this stuff is simple. And once you know how to do it, you'll be able to do it. So you'll make amazing things. I already know that a lot of you guys, especially the ones who comment with customs they want to see made, I know you guys can create these customs, and this is why I want to make this video for you guys to help you out a bit. But to be honest, they're not fun to make. It's time consuming, and I'm not perfect. I'm kind of new at this as well, and I know there's other people who are like, that's not how you do it. You do it this way, or I learn this way. There's no wrong way to do it as long as you're able to take off enough where you can put paint and sculpt on and whatever it is that you want to create. So just remember, keep that in mind. Don't look at this video as it being the only way. Just take this video and take what you need from it, and then go on and watch someone else's video and take what you need from it, and so on and so forth. The best thing to do is to soak up as much information as you can from as many people as you can and work with what you got. You don't need what everyone else has. I don't have an airbrush. I would like one. I think I'm going to get one really soon. But certain paints and sculpts I didn't have access to. I don't have access to Milliput, or at first I didn't even have access to Model Masters acrylic paints. I had to go out and discover where to find them, which was a town or state actually next door to mine. So, just work with what you got and perfect the process. And once you kind of understand how it works, you can be able to experiment more and get your customs done. I assure you that it isn't hard. The only hard part is the time. If you're willing to put in the time to make a custom, then you should be able to do it. And here he is all back together. He's a little wobbly because he's still warm, so you don't really want to do anything with him yet until he cools off. I'm going to put these arms on. Same thing. You heat up everything and you put it right back. Guys, I hope this video was informative enough for you to understand how easy it is to take apart certain parts on your figures. I know I didn't do it all completely. I didn't take off all the pins, and I didn't crack the torso. A lot of you guys want to know how to crack a torso. Maybe we'll do it one day. But there are some other videos on YouTube that you can watch that crack torsos and stuff. So go search for those. See what you can soak up. One thing I rarely did was ask other customizers how to do things. I know it's kind of annoying for them. They probably get a million questions from different people that they don't know. So I didn't want to be another guy just to, I never talk to people and be like, hey, man, I don't know you, but how do you do this? Because they're not going to tell me, or they're not going to feel comfortable talking with me if I never really had anything to say beforehand. So it's best to just really soak up stuff on your own. I try to tell you guys as much as I can. Honestly, I'm not going to answer everyone's questions, because a lot of it is repetitive. What kind of paints you use, Model Masters acrylics, what kind of brushes, generic brushes. So there's a lot of things. What kind of sealer, Krylon matte, sometimes gloss if it's needed. And I don't know, guys. I really hope this video was informative. I wanted to get it out a long time ago. We didn't make anything with it. We didn't sand the figure down. We could take apart a female figure also if you wanted. I wanted to do that, but that would take more time. We could probably do that in another video. Let me know if that's what you want to see. Take a female part. For the most part, it is the same exact thing, just the diaphragm joint is a little different, and the arms come off completely at the shoulders, where on most male figures you can't take those shoulders out. You can heat it up really hot and take it off, but then you're going to bend the plastic in there, or you can crack the torso and take that arm out. Either way, it's not my thing. Guys, I appreciate the love. If you like this video and you want to see more videos like this, feel free to like, comment down below. If you have any questions, I'll answer them to the best that I can. See you in the next one.